Dr. H. Wainhouse is the Distinguished Research Professor of Theology, Law, Culture, and Archaeology at Faith International University and Seminary in Tacoma, Washington. He and his wife Irina have taught and directed many tours in the Mediterranean and Middle East, including Israel, Greece, Egypt, Jordan, Italy, and Turkey, particularly with the Biblical Archaeological Society. Dr. House has taught biblical and theological studies at several universities and seminaries during a teaching career of over 50 years and has written 150 articles and 50 books, including the Evangelical Dictionary of World Religions, The Jesus Who Never Lived, Exposing False Christs and Finding the Real Jesus, the Zondervan Handbook of Biblical Archaeology, Israel, the Land and the People, an Evangelical Affirmation of God's Promises, and editor of the Nelson NKJV Study Bible and Nelson New Illustrated Bible Commentary. Dr. House is the general editor of the Evangelical Exegetical Commentary Series, 44 volumes, with logos, Faith Life. It is the knowledge amassed from these experiences, along with the assistance of biblical scholars at a variety of universities and seminaries throughout the world, that provides the information contained in his latest project, the House Visual Study Bible Online. Thank you for joining Archaeology and the Lands of the Bible with Dr. H. Wainhouse.
And greetings and salutations to all who are tuning in or have tuned in. And don't tune out, and especially those who are in the virtual studio here.
That's right.
So Dr. House is in the house.
Yes.
And I think we're ready to rock and roll here. Well, almost. I am ready, but I gotta get.
I was planning other things tonight besides that. I'm sorry.
You were doing what now?
I'm not going to rock and roll tonight. I'm going to teach.
You're not going to rock and roll. Well, see.
How about just rock?
There you go.
Oh, I tell you, it's good to be with each of you. I very much have come to enjoy being with each of you. I'm in a little different place as I've been talking to some of the people on in the house, so to speak, there, and Monroe, Louisiana, on the way back to Texas. So we're stopped here to do this presentation. We've been going through the idea of archaeology in the land of what is called today Turkey. It's Turkey is how the Turkish pronounce it. But it's a land of the Asia Minor in the Bible. You know, if you start taking the book of Acts and go a little ways into it, to the book of Revelation, that's basically what this country that we're in right now relates to. I mean, all these places, not only the 7 churches of Asia, as we know the term, from the Isle of Patmos when John mentioned those churches, but all sorts of other churches and believers here. They have some fascinating places to look at. I mean, you can go up into the area of Pamphylia and see some things that, like underground cities, they used to hide from the Romans and then the Turks and others after that. The Christians did. So it's a great place to visit. If you ever want to go, we do tours here about every year. Now that COVID has stopped, I'm finally doing some things again with tours that I've missed so very much for a long time now. So those will be going on with this place and also Israel, Greece, and other sites. We're going to move into some areas that we haven't covered yet. Remember, we talked first of all about Patmos. If you were from the beginning of this, we're from Patmos, and then we started immediately to sort of at least show you the geographical elements that relate to where we are, the site, the particular sites where they are as far as on the map. And you find when you look at John's revelation, as we call the revelation, John or Jesus, that they are given in a certain order, of which there was a circuit in which these letters were passed around to the various church groups. So we're sort of following that. We did spend some time with Ephesus, and now we're going to move on up into the area of what is called Pergamum. And Pergamum is a fairly interesting site. Some things are not as interesting as others. I used to do the tours when I did Turkey. I skipped Thyatira and Pamphylia totally. I don't mean Pamphylia. I meant Philadelphia is what I meant. Philadelphia totally. And I found that people said, listen, I didn't get to go to all the 7 churches. I said, there's nothing there to talk about much. And they said, but I want to be able to say I visited the 7 churches.
Ah,
I said, we'll take the miles and hours and do it.
yeah.
So now they can at least make that claim. I'm in a certain building here right now. You can see behind me Caesarea Maritima,
Oh,
which is on a gigantic screen about the size of the one that you would have if you went to a movie theater. It's big.
mm,
And so that's on behind. And plus, there's all sorts of biblical artifacts around me here. These aren't all originals, you realize.
hmm
They are good copies, replicas that are used for teaching at this place that I'm right now, done by a very fine gentleman. And so we're going to go ahead and move on in the place and move up from Ephesus. We went to Smyrna, and I wish I could tell you there was a lot more at Smyrna to go to, but there are some interesting points. But it relates more to the inscriptions they found below and some of the structures of how the place was built. But there's not a whole lot here, even though some interesting history. This is where Polycarp
hmm
lost his life. He was martyred here
Right.
many years ago. But we pretty well finished that. I actually spent some time with the archaeologist who did this work. We actually went below and started translating some inscriptions on the walls and spent some time doing that. It was a lot of fun, but that sort of all stopped here. So we're going to go and move up north a little bit more and go to a place called Pergamum. And John speaks of Pergamum in the Revelation.
hmm
He mentions the fact that if you look at this map here, I can't remember. If I move this marker, can they see this? You see this?
Yes, we can all see it.
You can see it. Good. I forgot if this actually worked that way. So we went to Smyrna from Ephesus. By the way, right below Ephesus is a modern day name, which is called Kusadashi.
Hmm.
And so that's here. And then we're going to go down later to Perini and Miletus and move across some places here too. But I'm going to do the 7 churches first. This is Patmos, you know that.
hmm
So this is Izmir, and today that's called Izmir. This is actually the place of Smyrna. And so we're going to move right on up here to this right now and look at several things in a place called Pergamum. If you'll notice to the left, there's something called Lesbos. That bring any ideas to your head?
No, unfortunately, yes.
Historically, it brought an idea to people's heads too.
Yeah.
So that's the place of a women's colony of a sort.
Ah.
And that's Pergamum. Then we're going to move across to Thyatira tonight. There's not a lot to tell you there, but I can show you what's there. And then we will be moving down then from there to the place called Sardis, which there are some interesting things. And gradually we will move to Philadelphia and then over here. I'm not sure how far we'll get on all that, but that's the angle we're going to Philadelphia, which has very little, as does Thyatira, very little. But then we get to these areas and it gets really interesting, particularly now that they're doing excavation at Colossae. I've been telling her for 20 years going this place. I said, when are you going to do excavation at Colossae? And finally they're doing it. So I'm really happy about that. So we're going to move up to Pergamum first then. So if that slide will produce, yeah, I guess it's okay to look at that. Hey, let's take a look at this. Is the order again that we're looking at. We've done Smyrna. We're going to go to Pergamum, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, and Laodicea. And after that, I'm going to take you to other places that are not part of the 7 churches, but have some phenomenal archaeology at them. So let's just go on then to talk about Pergamum itself. Now, what are these trees? What's interesting about the trees? Virtually nothing.
You couldn't even make up a fun story about them?
No, I can. I actually have done that. I did a Biblical Archaeological Society. I got them up to Hierapolis that we're going to look at. Maybe I should wait till I get there to tell you the story. But I made up a story when they asked me about something there, and I made it up and told a lengthy story, and they were just salivating, and they were just looking at it. They thought I was talking about the truth.
Oh,
I finally admitted to them I was lying the whole time. So we could talk about the trees if you're really into trees, but let me tell you what this is. If you look real carefully at these trees, you notice if you moved them out of the way, you got a big hump, and you have some stairs in front of it.
Right.
And that tells you automatically, if you're a very brilliant archaeologist, you can tell that there was something there once that had interest archaeologically. So stairs give it away every time.
I think so.
I'm feeling gilly tonight. I think it's being here. I think it's being sick and being here in Monroe, Louisiana. But whatever.
Must be the soup. I don't know.
Something's wrong. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, so that if you remove the trees out of the way, there's something important. If you read in John's gospel, he talks about something about the church at Pergamum. And one thing he says, what's interesting, he says, you are the place that Satan's throne is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't have the translation in front of you, but essentially that's it. This is where the throne of Satan was, as it were. And you think, what does that mean? Well, it's viewed that probably this is referring to the altar of Zeus, the chief deity, and the worship of the pagans. And so I don't know of anything else, at least in my reading. I'm always willing to be corrected. If you know something I don't know, and I've learned in life that I don't know everything.
Mm-hmm.
Some people haven't come to that yet. But
well, they're not married. That's the
that's part of it, yeah.
I tell you what. But anyway, the point of it is there are the evidence is fairly plain, I think, that the throne there is talking about the Zeus, the god of the Greeks, that was being worshipped there. And so we're going to talk about that because I actually had a chance to go and spend some time and climb it and everything. And I'm not going to go into this much now, except to tell you this. This particular location actually used to fit on that mound at Pergamum. And a man who was doing work at the time got to know one of the leaders of the Muslims at that point, and he was a businessman from the area of Berlin, and he asked if he could take a few artifacts back home. And he got permission to do so, so he dismantled the altar of Zeus and took it back to Berlin. I don't think the guy who gave him permission probably intended that.
No.
To lose the entire altar of Zeus and some other things too at Pergamum. But he went back, and you can go now to Berlin. There are 3 basic museums. The one I'm looking at right here, this is in a museum called, believe it or not, can anybody guess what the name of this museum is called?
The Pergamum Museum.
The Pergamum Museum.
Oh,
really sharp people in this group.
Boy,
so
we don't miss a thing.
The Pergamum Museum. There are 2 other museums there. One is called the Nous, the other is called Altus. Okay. And these are dealing with different periods, obviously, of biblical history. You can see those all in Berlin if you want to go there and look at it. I took a special trip back here one time because I bought me a camera lens that could actually take the whole thing in. Because I tried everything I could to get a good picture. And they're all from different little angles. And I thought I'd like to just get it. And so I spent a lot of money on a wide angle kind of lens that did a good job.
Yeah.
But this is the thing that was dismantled and taken back, and now it's here whole. I don't think they're giving this back to.
I doubt it.
but it's a great. Now on the walls are also some other things you can look at. It has a there's not a lot of distance between where I'm standing there and actually the altar itself. If you were to be standing with me there, you'd have barely a little room in the back of you to get behind me. It was that close in. And that doesn't give you much angle if you don't have a wide angle lens. Okay, well that's enough about that. I want to go back to the other slide. Go backwards. Okay, so what you're looking at here then is the lower area of Pergamum. Now, if you go to Pergamum today, as I'm going to be in a few weeks, for those of you, anybody still want to go to Turkey with me? I still have a few places left on this the trip if you want to go. But this is a lower area looking from upper where the other temples and so forth are. And if you look to the left, in modern day Pergamum, what they've done is they've actually put in an elevator so people don't have to climb the mountain.
That's smart.
You can get on an elevator, it takes you right up there for those you might be concerned about that.
Nice.
They're very, they're concerned with having that. If you look at, you can see a large community in this area, different from what you find in the site itself.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have several altars here, some to different emperors. You have a wonderful theater here we're going to look at. You also have another temple that most people don't know about that relates to Dionysius, if you know who that is. If not, we'll talk about it. He was very important also down at Corinth, that deity, and we'll discuss some things about him. Okay, now go ahead and move on up a couple. Now, what you have here is a temple to Trajan, and all these temples are in disrepair. You realize that over centuries, most things like this don't stay up too long, and what you have to do sometimes is reconstruct them and sort of put them up again and make them so that they'll be available to be looked at. So many of these things actually were on the ground. Very few things last, and notice how narrow they are in comparison, and over time they lose that. But there's quite a few things there on the top. There's a place I love to go to when I go up there because there's a place to sort of check out your strength with another thing. I'm trying to think what it was. It's been a while since I've done it, but they have a for trying out to see if you can undo the god. but I try my best. So this right here is on the top of the mountain, and as you walk up from the place of the temple of Zeus, or I should say the altar of Zeus. Now go again. Let's move on.
So just Jacob weighs in and says the temple of Bel was destroyed by ISIS in 2015.
The temple of Bel was destroyed by ISIS in 2015. That's 2015.
Right, that would be Muslims.
Yeah, they did a lot of damage back in the.
Or you talk no, but you're talking about over in Asia Minor area. You're talking about
That's Middle East, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to just a second. I'm trying to think of the place. I can't think of it. Donna, maybe you can help me. My mind right now is not real cool. I've been sick and I just having trouble with. I had a surgery and it's caused troubles in my mind sometimes. But over there, you had an entire. Yes, you did have a temple to Baal.
Palmyra.
There. Yes, right. Very good. Thank you. That's exactly.
Palmyra.
And I have tons of photos from there too. Some really nice ones. Maybe sometime we can look at that area too.
Sure.
That's when you had ISIS and all the other people that were kind people that came through and expressed their viewpoints. But, they tend to express it that way all the time. They're very good.
They are, yeah.
They're quite vocal, yes.
But this is found at Pergamum. That you can guess who this is.
Where's this lightning bolt?
Who is that? What's the guy that has a lightning bolt? I'm talking about Baal.
Zeus, yeah.
Zeus, yes. And would you expect Zeus to have a statue here?
That's
he has an altar there too.
Yeah.
So you guys are right on top of it.
I'm telling you.
All right. So here you have that. Move on. That's not spectacular. You see that?
You've seen one statue, you've seen them all.
Yeah. Yeah, but you do have some looking here.
Yeah.
For other temples. Now this one right here is below though. This is below what we're looking at in a moment. We're going to check you and you'll see a theater. Now I have climbed this because when I go on archaeological digs, when I go to archaeological sites, I always like to look around on everything. And it's part of the experience. And I must admit, when I was at Pergamum, climbing, or I should say, walking down those steps, they are so steep. I was concerned about I'm going to trip and kill myself.
Oh, Lordy.
Because I was so careful because, they just go straight down almost like this.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's unusual. Most of I'm always concerned about climbing around like in Ephesus or any place where you have theaters, because they don't make them real safety. There's not real safe. They are stone, and they're not necessarily, they don't give you things to hold on to on the side like we would normally do.
Right.
If you lose your balance, you're out of luck, because can you imagine falling on stone, bang, bang?
Oh,
You
yeah.
wouldn't last long, but that's how they all are. I don't care which one you go to, but the Pergamum, the problem is it's so steep, and I just hated to do this. I was so careful because I said, I've got to be able to go to the bottom and look up what it looks like when I'm, because, you got to have the full experience of doing these things.
I guess you had two choices: get there slowly or quickly.
That is true.
Right?
You do have that option.
Yeah.
You really do. They're it's a free society basically there.
That certainly was.
All right. So let's keep moving before I fall asleep.
Okay, well, we could do that.
Absolutely.
So here we are. This is not a church, let me say. I don't know why this is archaeology, but you say the churches of Asia, and we're not talking about buildings, you realize. We're talking about, this is where church people lived, Christian people. And so when you say church, it sounds like you got a church there.
Right.
That was a theater where, Paul actually did his basic ministry.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Not really. At
Wow.
the bottom of the theater,
Yeah.
So what you do when you leave the area of the top here, and you go down the steps, or you used to go to the elevator and get in your car and go around, you're going to come to another location, which is pretty important. And you can guess what that is, right? I mentioned it before. The bottom. The Asclepion. This is where you had a god who did he was a medical doctor.
Oh, okay.
Temple of Asclepius?
What?
Was it the Temple of Asclepius?
Yeah, this is where down there, the Asclepius, yes, he actually is a god of healing. I joke about the other. But yes, this Asclepion is down there.
Oh.
Asclepius is the god. Now remember something very important. The god Asclepion, goody, you brought that picture in. While we're at it, you can go ahead and look to the right. You went right past it.
I moved past what?
Go back.
Oh, yeah.
So you also have over to the far side, you have a small temple to Dionysius. And but it's probably because he was serving wine. And then you're at the theater and so forth. What can I say? It's just all modern. But move on down now. We're going to go to the Asclepion, and this is a place for the god. Is down here. Notice you're looking up now.
Yeah.
And you can see the theater up there high.
Ooh.
You can't really see the temple there to your left, but it's that's on the hill that we were at just a moment ago. It's a walkway. And what happened, and this is fascinating, quite honestly. I joke here a little bit just to keep you awake. But when you go down here, you realize this was the major place probably for the worship of the god Asclepius. And you'll see that little cross snakes thing.
Yeah, the snake around the.
It's used today. You'll see that at different places here.
Sure.
But there's some other stuff. First of all, these columns were genuine up columns. All of these were in a walkway. This is in disrepair, obviously. But what happened is that if you were sick of something, I should say it another way. If you were sick with something,
right,
and you came here, they had priests that worked there for Asclepius, and they would actually examine you physically and see exactly what they thought the problem was. If they thought they could probably deal with it, they had some ways to try to work with you some. If they thought you would not be healed, they sent you on your merry way. Asclepius had no real power, you realize, because he's no real god either.
Right. That should have been a clue right there.
So did they send it to Benny Hinn, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
I'm sure people felt real safe knowing that that temple was there, just in case they got a bit too drunk at one of Dionysus's revelries and fell down all those stairs.
Absolutely. That's what I'm thinking. Or maybe the guy that built it must have been a little.
Yeah.
Well, you
But
know,
didn't they have a very large graveyard there because there were a lot of elderly people that ended up dying while looking for healing?
Interesting.
but you know, I don't know how many people from the theater came down to here. But let me say this. Ready?
Yeah.
They would actually check you out to see whether they think they could help you or not.
Okay.
If they could not help you, they sent you on your way.
Right.
Okay, because you don't need a lot of testimonies from people who said nothing happened.
Sure.
They sent you on the way. Now here's something else. A couple other things to put in, because eventually we're going to go to Corinth. Eventually we're going to go to, for example, the place of the of Jerusalem, where they had actually a place near that pool. Remember that Jesus encountered there? You know about nobody's putting in an angel
or Siloam.
the thing.
Yeah, Siloam.
There's actually a worship site of Asclepius right inside where Jesus was right there. You can see the stuff that relates to the religion. Now, that posed a question in my mind when I saw that. What is a Greek pagan area which had water and all sorts of pagan objects doing inside close to the Temple Mount and up in the area and where Jesus was ministering? Does that pose an issue in your head?
A little bit.
Where did that pagan thing get in there? I want to know if anybody knows how it maybe found its way inside the city of Jerusalem, not too far from the what was called St. Stephen's Gate, sometimes called the Lion's Gate, different names. Why was it in there? Do you have any idea?
Well, I mean, the Jews weren't always very faithful, so that's one thing.
Well, tell me something about the history of Jerusalem that would give rise to that.
It fell into various different hands. Was it before Rome or after? Before Rome, obviously, it was the Greek. The Greeks took it over. Okay, good. And who was the Greek who came through there with an army at one time? Anybody know? Alexander the Great. And where was he on the way to? To he wanted to go to, what is it?
Egypt.
To Egypt or India or something.
He was on his way to Egypt. Remember, the Jews did not actually fight with Alexander. They only had one location right off the coast of Israel where there was a group of people that wanted to keep from being taken by Alexander. And he built a causeway all the way out to the place and took them anyway.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't going to be denied what he was trying to get.
Sure.
But he did not have to fight the Jewish people coming through. And then he went to Egypt. Now, after he died later on, he had 4 generals.
Right.
2 of them went to the area of what we would think of as Greco-Roman area. And the other 2, one was in
Egypt,
and the other was in
was it in Turkey?
Was the area of Syria and also what we call Israel.
Okay.
And so what were they doing during this time? They were actually, I don't know if it was deliberate in the sense, I know later on it became that. And then that's why there was a rebellion with Judas Maccabeus and so forth. But during a certain period of time there, they were largely, the Jewish boys were stopping, they were being circumcised. They were doing their athletics in the nude, just all these kinds of things the Greeks were doing. They were adopting Greek policies for some time in Israel. And finally, later, when you have one of the generals takes over, then you have a real problem because he was wanting to even do sacrifice in the temple area.
Right.
So you know these stories about, so it doesn't surprise me that Greek influence introduced that particular thing into Israel, and it was never removed. Because who came over later? Romans.
Romans.
See, so they wouldn't have actually dismantled that either.
these are things that sort of you had to try to put the pieces together. Why is a pagan site inside the area where you had Jesus and even the temple just very close?
It must have been pretty common to see those things kind of all around.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, so you have this whole thing about this, people believing that there's some kind of magical thing going in the water, and Jesus basically, he just told him to. He said, "Nobody will help me get in the water." Jesus said, "Get up and walk."
That's all you gotta do.
He didn't need the water to heal him.
Exactly.
But you put these stories together, they're sort of interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go back now.
What I like about that is that it isn't that there was some Jewish teaching that an angel comes down and stirs the waters. This really goes back to when the Greeks were there, and it's just been carrying on all since then.
Yeah, the Greeks actually, I think, initiated it. I don't think the Jews did.
Right.
But you found a sort of an acclamation, or maybe that's not the right word. You found a surrendering to Greek thought, even that continued in the time of Jesus.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So Jesus didn't go down and dismantle the place. Right. What he did do, he's healed a man in spite of the fact of the false religious thoughts.
He overrode it, in other words.
Yeah. Well, let me go back to this site then at Pergamum to sort of put this together. How are we doing on time? I got to watch my time.
Oh, we're good.
Okay. I don't see I'm going to have to put my phone. I don't even see a watch. Okay. 8:31.
1.5 hours.
Let's look at this more. I want to tell you some more about this, because you also find down in Corinth, and we'll visit Corinth someday. And in Corinth, if you go into the museum. Anybody been into Corinthian Museum?
Mm-mm.
Anybody?
No.
No?
Maybe online, but no.
So if you go into the Corinthian Museum, you'll find out they have a little room there, and they have all sorts of body parts.
Yikes.
Now, we're not talking about real people's bodies.
Okay.
But they would take different portions of the body. Let's see if your ear was giving you trouble. Then they would bring in a molded, probably clay kind of ear that has been formed, like an artist would do.
Okay.
And then let's say if your, I don't know, if your nose was causing trouble, you have a nose there. Huh. And you had all sorts, and I'm not going to anymore, but they have a number of body parts that are there that were votive offerings to the gods.
Oh.
And particularly, guess what? Which god?
That doctor one. I forget his name.
You're all going to fail if you don't keep it up.
I know.
What is the god that they had there? They took offerings to.
Escapulus.
See, there's a brilliant person right in the middle.
There you go.
Lepidus, right?
Yes.
And so you have that religion was all over the ancient world.
Yeah.
And can you see why it would be an important religion to be retained by people?
Sure.
People are concerned about their health. And if they think that God can help them, they want the God to help them. Now, let's get back to Pergamum then, and what you see of it. They would check you out to see how well you were. And if they thought they could actually make you well, they would keep you. And if they thought you would not make it, they sent you home.
Sounds like Uncle Benny.
Right, yeah, I was going to say, these are OG faith healers.
Yeah, that's...
Maybe they just didn't like someone's insurance policy.
Maybe.
That's the safe face.
Let me tell you about it. You go inside the area, and if you ever go on a trip with me to Pergamum, I take it and show you. I've got a whole group going with us in October now. But if you go into the area there, you'll find out that they had pools. This is going to sound familiar. They had pools that they put people into. You know, water is helpful sometimes in healing. And so they would put people into pools and work all sorts of kinds of things that they've created they think will help people as far as medicines and salves and things of that sort. And, you know, if they got over it, they took the credit. If they died, it was all their fault anyway. So,
word of faith. There you go.
It's an interesting area.
It doesn't, yeah.
Any questions to this point before I've confused you entirely?
Well, where would they bury the dead if they're trying to, you know,
sneak them out?
If they're trying to keep their temple pure. There's that healing energy, if you will.
If someone drowns,
where would they hide the evidence of death?
That's a good question.
Yeah, but they were pretty smooth at this. And you know what? People who want to be helped and feel danger for themselves, they will go to any length sometimes to. Mm-hmm. They do that today.
Oh yeah.
Any length that time to try to find anything that will help.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So there's no grave sites in that area. They're probably far away.
No, that's what's interesting. I have never. Now I have to go look maybe more and see if I didn't see something, but I don't remember any grave sites. It's not like Hierapolis when we come there. It's the largest graves. It's the largest cemetery I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow.
In Hierapolis. So we'll talk about that. There's some reasons for that we'll be discussing. But
interesting.
But as far as the healing, they remember they picked people they thought really weren't very sick. Did you catch that when I said that to begin with?
Yes, yes.
They check you over, and if they think there's any possibility, I mean, this is all in the book. You can read it. If there's any possibility that they couldn't help you, they'd send you home. They only dealt with people they were pretty sure that when they left, they'd be singing their praises.
Interesting.
See, and have you ever, anybody like jacuzzis?
Yeah.
It's sort of a healing thing. It's very good for you.
Plus, they had a lot of obviously, if you're close to the sea, you get a lot of salt water. Which is salt is.
Yeah. And they had some salves and things that did work. I mean, there are some salves that people take today on maybe skin problems or things like that they can give somebody over a period of spending some time there and receiving some care. Then you'd walk away and feel better.
Right.
But I'm just saying, Asclepianism is not helpful. It doesn't really work.
Right.
But they played a good game in these things, or people wouldn't be going and putting all their offerings out.
Sure.
You chuckle at it, but if you go to a New Age fair, that's exactly what you're going to see: is a bunch of oils and crystals and
you're right.
Powders. Yeah,
that's a good point. That's right. People do that today.
To this day.
But we shouldn't be surprised with the ancient world.
Yeah.
Nope.
If someone did die, I expect that they found someone's cousin named Vinny to make it look like an accident.
Uncle Vinny, cousin Vinny. Yeah.
That's another option.
That's right.
Well, let's keep moving.
Let's go.
I've been moving the whole time you've been talking.
Move it to the next one. We've already finished this.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now, the Thyatira church is a corrupt church. And there are churches like that today, believe it or not, but we will not be calling names.
Oh, you're kidding.
But the fact is that John, in talking about the churches, you notice that some churches that he discusses in the 7 church settings in these cities, some churches had bad, some had good, some had mixtures. And that's probably true just about everywhere. You have those kind of problems. Anybody remember anything in the Bible about Jezebel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What was her problem?
Quite a few.
No, I'm really serious with you. If you look in the Old Testament and you study Jezebel,
she was
remember
mean.
what was her problem?
She was a narcissist.
Huh?
She was a narcissist.
Definitely. She was like a super Karen.
Well, notice, I think John is probably saying a little more than we have in the Old Testament about Jezebel. But there were things about her, as she was certainly not a moral person.
Right.
She was also very much into deities of various sorts.
Yes.
She did not like God's prophets. You notice. One in particular she did not like.
Right.
Anybody know what her husband's name was?
Ahab.
Arab. You're right.
Yeah.
And remember the whole story of Elijah on top of the Mount Carmel. Anybody been to Mount Carmel? Raise your hand. See, you need to go to Israel. You need to go to Israel too. But Mount Carmel is one of my favorite places.
Oh,
it really is. It's such a great view there, and the story is wonderful about Elijah. And can you imagine having a great victory, then sort of going away saying, well, it's all over?
Yeah.
Woe is me.
Woe is me.
I preached a series of sermons on the question of difficulties in life, and I use Elijah as one of them. But he didn't fully understand what God had done. He said, okay, I got rid of all those prophets, but I'm the last one now for God. He didn't realize that God had 7,000 set aside if Elijah get his eyes open. So there's a whole story. He goes down to Mount Sinai.
Yeah.
And I don't think Ron Wyde's Mount Sinai, but it was the one down in the Sinai Peninsula.
Right.
And took 40 days basically to get down there. And he was all complaining about God, and God had to sort of teach him a lesson or two. Anyway, I love the story, but Jezebel was his competitor, and did not like what he was doing and wanted him killed. And so when we look at the Jezebel, he said, you follow like the prophet Jezebel. What's John trying to teach us there in that passage?
You're not following God.
Okay.
Say that again.
Oh, you're not following God, basically.
They weren't following God?
Right. Jezebel, did Jezebel believe in the God of Israel at all?
No. She was mean.
It doesn't appear so, no.
She hated
verbally or action wise, it was not.
You had two big gods in Canaanite. Anybody studied Ugaritic?
Baal and
well, I had to, so I had to learn all these funny looking things.
Oh God.
And we read the stories of Baal, and you had Asherah. These were two god and goddesses. Baal was a god of the thunder, the rain, the crops.
Yeah, fertility.
He was a god who brought fertility to the land. That's Baal. Sometimes pronounced Baal, but it's actually Baal. And then you have Asherah was his consort, his girlfriend. And so Jezebel followed that deity and what they did, and she was very much against God's prophets because they tried to close down that pagan thinking. And she had some killed. Is it, Donald, you can tell me, or you don't have to if you don't, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm trying to think who's the prophet that was actually bringing trying to save the lives of some of the prophets that Jezebel, was it Obadiah? I'm trying to think. It was a well-known guy, but he would try to help her because he was actually working within the palace, and I can't remember who it was now. It's sort of in my mind, but there's somebody helping. But they were after killing every prophet of God, and they hated Elijah with a passion. and so she met her. What happened to her at the end? Anybody know?
Yeah, she fell out of the window. Or
she got eaten by dogs.
She went splat on the bottom.
I don't think she was. I don't think she tripped.
No,
she fell off.
They got rid of her at the end.
Yeah.
She discovered she was a real pushover.
That's one of the best ones you've come up with.
He's one of the best.
But anyway, so this is the story of Jezebel. So what I'm saying, and go back to the Revelation, there's this woman called. He says, "You're like Jezebel. You're following the line of Jezebel." Where's my? There it is.
Oh, there it is.
See it there? I have a few things against you because you allow that woman Jezebel, who calls herself a prophet, to teach and seduce my servants to commit sexual immorality and eat things sacrificed to idols.
There you go.
Now, is he talking about the actual woman Jezebel in the Old Testament?
No.
But he is talking about a person probably that has that kind attitude and
persona.
Joyce Meyer?
I don't even know if there was this woman called Jezebel. The point of because I think what he's saying is that you act like the Jezebel of the Old Testament, And so you look at all the bad traits of that woman, and there's somebody in your midst that you're following like that person.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
The caffeinated Colorado crew wins the prize on this one. Obadiah hit 100 prophets.
And then he hit him by 50s.
Oh, good. Thank you. 100 prophets. It's Obadiah. Okay, I'll hit it.
Yeah, it is.
So
they are correct.
When you read these statements of the corrupt churches and all these other kind of things, oftentimes they will John uses imagery from the Old Testament. Do you understand that?
Sure. Makes sense.
You have a Jezebel among you doesn't mean her name was necessarily Jezebel.
Right.
Maybe it was. I mean, I can't say. but that's what you find when you read the interaction, the Book of Revelation. Probably, and I don't know, somebody can call me up on this and say you're wrong. I read about it differently, but I think the Book of Revelation has more references to the Old Testament than any other New Testament book. I think that's correct, but I may be wrong. But in this situation right here, they tend to pick out persons that had a certain lifestyle or things they've done that is acting similar inside the Christian congregations, and he's actually telling them they need to repent of their attitudes.
Right.
And so I think that's what we're encountering here. I've given you the First Kings to look at here. This is First Kings. Helps you a little bit. Okay, that's so Thyatira didn't do that well.
And
not. So what is it? He says, he who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. In other words, he's saying, God's got something to tell you, and you better learn the lesson. Or what happens?
You bite the bullet, too.
No, there's something that John always talks about. If you don't follow this, what happens to you?
Oh, in the Revelations, you would be removed, your lamppost,
Yeah, going to take that lamp and put it out.
Right.
And he doesn't say that to everybody.
No.
So if you have a corrupt church, then God says, I'm just going to put you under discipline.
And
I think that's by the way, I think it's what happens today sometimes. Some churches think they're doing really great, and they're doing quite wrong.
Absolutely.
I won't even mention names on the. No, there are some that are very obvious. Very obvious.
Very, very.
But I'm not going to get into that here. So this is basically what you have at Thyatira. That is, seriously, what you're looking at right now is about all we know left over from this place that that happened in the city of Thyatira.
Wow.
Remember what God said? He says, you're corrupt. I'm pretty well going to punish you and be done with you, is about where we're at here. And this is, Thyatira is not like Smyrna even, that has stuff still left over in Pergamum. So that's something significant about this. Let's keep moving. That's just another view. And another. See, this is just a bunch of
stones, yeah.
Yeah, not much there. Now, the dead church could be different from the corrupt church. Can you see that or not?
That I know you're. Yeah, well, that definitely calls them dead.
Yeah, but I'm saying, is there a difference between being a dead church and a corrupt church?
Oh, I see. Well, yeah, I suppose.
You don't find any mention here about harlots or Jezebels or those kind of people. You ever been around a church that just looked like it's all dead?
Yes.
Well, that's what we're talking about here. It's to the angel of the church in Sardis. Now, Sardis is an interesting area. We're going to be looking at some stuff at Sardis because there's several interesting archaeological things at Sardis. But this is more theological in nature. But the thing is that over time, after John had said this, these churches in basically these locations begin to falter. Now, I say that with reservation because that doesn't mean that all the way through Asia Minor, churches were faltering and Christians were faltering. Matter of fact, in 119, AD 119, the governor there, Pliny, wrote the emperor.
Hmm.
And when was this done, by the way? This seven church thing?
Probably the 90s.
Yeah, the late 90s, right? 95, whatever.
Right.
So what's the significance of what I'm saying? The fact is, in 119, the governor says something very important. He writes to the emperor and he says, we've got a problem. There's this religious superstition growing like crazy in Asia Minor. And we've got to do something about it. What do we do? Because the temples are being forsaken. Does that sound like it when you read about the dead church? You see the incongruity I'm trying to deal with here? By the way, I'm not just teaching archaeology. I'm trying to teach you about theology and
There you go.
You need to understand that something's going on here.
Yeah.
The dead church and the corrupt church, and Pliny in 119, which is not that far from this time, a couple of decades. All of a sudden, Christianity is growing like a flower.
Right.
It's expanding so much that there's people are forsaking the temples.
Right.
So what's going on?
Well, Christianity was taking foothold.
It has, but based on the dead church and corrupt church,
and some places were not.
Some places are not. So that's true in America. There are probably churches that are thriving for the Lord, and others are dead or corrupt.
Right. And I'm wondering if, just kind of out of curiosity, I'm not sure if this is something that we can all answer. Is it possible that, well, apparently these main churches were not the only churches in the area, I'm guessing?
Yes, and I'm going to show you some others soon.
Okay, so maybe these particular churches are made infamous because John pointed them out for certain reasons, but maybe there were other churches or other believers that probably weren't corrupt in that area where there was corruption.
Sure, I think that's really possible. What is Jesus doing through John? Is he picking out every church?
No.
Or the churches that had the most problems?
Probably, yeah.
Well, and even here, John says to them, which is interesting. I will come as a thief. Blah, blah, blah.
You have a few names.
Yeah. You have some in Sardis, a few names even in Sardis who have not defiled their garments, and they will walk with me in white, for they are worthy.
Yeah.
So even though it's a dead church, you've got some that are really doing the task.
They're still alive.
So if a church is dead, does not mean it has to be lost forever. I mean, you're right. There were people here who were faithful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so sometimes churches respond to God's judgment.
Right.
Other times they don't make it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to love, I really like Sardis as a place. You'll see in a moment. But I think that's the issue. You do have changes that take place over time.
Sure.
But if you don't, then you're stuck. Now, I won't mention names here at all. But let's say if you have a pastor getting up and teaching people unethical things about how do you do things as Christians, or they basically say things like, don't pay any attention to certain portions of Scripture, it doesn't make any difference. I'm not saying who says that. But
no, of course.
Or like we need to disconnect from the Old Testament.
Yeah, people say all sorts of things, strange things. I published a book for Walt Kaiser. Anybody know who Walt Kaiser is?
Yes, I do. Yeah, absolutely.
And he came. One of the books he did 4 with me that about a year ago, and one was called "The Old Testament Really Matters," and I put a subtitle to it saying, "Encouraging Christians to read the Bible of Jesus and the early church," because that's the Bible they used.
Exactly.
And it's amazing if it's that bad, how did it have any value? And so yes, you have people that lead the church astray because of their bad thinking or their bad morals. Their church is pushing out of homosexuality, abortion,
Yeah.
Change your gender as many times as you need. You know, it's all sorts of strange things that even the church today has problems with.
Yep. That's true.
And we have to learn to be faithful, even in church. Let's say the church is going down what can we do to help generate it, to help it to get out of that? I mean, so I don't know what happened here at Sardis, but apparently they were able to sort of move past it differently than Thyatira or Philadelphia. You'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, this is the side of a building in Sardis. Okay? And if you've been to the Middle East anywhere, or Jerusalem, any of those places, you'll notice you have little stands on both sides of you. And you walk down these long aisles of people on either side selling their goods, and usually it's so crowded you can hardly move. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Like open market?
Yeah, an open market. That's what they had here at Sardis. These are open markets. You have the same thing in Jerusalem in the days of Jesus. Even if you go there to the southern walls on the western portion of the city at the south area, they had these kinds of things also. Matter of fact, I was a guy by the name was Ronnie Rice. He's the guy who was in charge of that excavation, and he was pointing out to me, they even found a key above one of those doors stuck in that apparently went to one of the doors to get in.
Wow.
So, but this is an example of it. There you have one that's pretty. Go ahead and go to the next one. I'll show you from a different angle. See this? These are all places alongside that people sell their goods. A market.
Yeah.
What's a term I gave you last time about a market? What do they call them?
Areopagus?
What?
Something?
Agoras.
Agoras. Oh, I'm thinking about something else.
Yeah. And so this is an area like a marketplace. And so you have this on the side of the building. Okay, let's continue.
I know started with an A.
This is inside that building that had the stuff on the other side. Okay, you get me? I just turned a corner there where it had those markets, turned the corner, went a little ways, and went into this building here.
Gotcha.
This is a very important building. At the very far end of where I'm looking with you, that's the entrance to this building, not the exit.
Oh.
Okay? This is the entrance. If you look to the left, you'll see a little ladder. Can you see the ladder?
Yeah. Right there.
And so the ladder, you could actually climb over and not go out that area. You could climb over and go to another building. We'll show you in a minute. Okay? Now, notice the floor. Somewhat ornate. Obviously, you've got a long time of history that has caused a lot of these things to, come apart and thrown away and so forth. But you notice something very important to the far end of the front of this building. Two structures right there with a door in between. Do you see that?
Yeah. Got here and here.
You know what those are for?
Pardon?
What are they for? Why are they there? What are they about?
Look.
Either those are shrines for their gods or really, really old ticket booths.
Right, that's what it always reminds me of.
It's the place you kept Torah.
Oh. Yeah, it looks like
These
a
are
hiding
places
place.
you put the Torah. If you go, anybody been into a Jewish synagogue?
Yes.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. In fact, the church I was part of for a while, I arranged to have our midweek teaching time in a synagogue.
Okay.
So it was kind of cool.
And Jesus, for example, when he was at Nazareth, remember they took the scroll and it's sort of like some practice, especially like in churches like Lutheran, maybe Episcopalian, where you have sort of a daily, well, I shouldn't say, a Sunday reading of passages that follows every year. You keep going through it. Well, Jesus, when he was in Nazareth, remember, he took the scroll down and put him, right, open it up. Where do we leave off? Here's where we leave off, and there's where you start. And Jesus read a portion that they didn't like.
Not so much.
Portion they gave him to read, but he said, today, this portion I just read has been fulfilled in your presence.
Yep.
And it spoke about him and what he was doing. So This is it. They bring the Torah scrolls out. They read. They keep them. That's what the like a closet for the Torah to be read.
Little cupboard.
Now, when you walk toward, if you move away from that and turn around and walk where we are looking into it, you'll see it's very ornate on the floor because a lot of it's been torn away, but it's very ornate. Go to the next slide.
Oh.
Okay, shows you a little bit more of what's there. If you looked more at it, and I don't know if I don't think I have that here. They actually have not ornate how the floor looks, but they even have animals that are statue animals inside there. Now that poses a problem.
I would say so.
I'm not saying they're real animals. I mean they're indications. Anybody ever been at the church in a place called oh my goodness, what's it called? Chorazim.
No.
It's a basalt synagogue. Basalt stone, dark stone. And if you look in there carefully, around the walls of various inscriptions are like pictures. There's a picture of a goddess in Greek mythology. Nobody's been there. Called the Medusa.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we looked at that last week.
Big Medusa right there in the synagogue.
Yeah. Oh.
And this, I think I showed you one in Ephesus.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's odd to have that in a synagogue.
And I would say so.
And when you look at this synagogue, you'll begin to see some things. A Jew in his synagogue would probably not put animals. They didn't put any kind of graven images of any sort, pretty much. And I don't know if you can do it one more. Let's see if we have the other side. I hope I have it there. One more slide.
Can you share the screen?
Oh.
There you go.
Yes, this is what I want to see.
Oh.
You see on either side of the altar?
Yeah.
Those are animals, not real animals. They're statues of animals. And then you have an altar.
Right.
That, and then you look in behind, you see the seats. This synagogue, it clearly has indications of a synagogue, but it also shows indications over a period of time, something happened. What do you think it was?
The church moved out and someone else moved in.
Well, I would say the church moved in and the synagogue moved out. Because that is the structure of a Byzantine church. And the altar and the way in which the seat is placed and also the kind of features you see inside. Over a period of time, the Jewish... I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Synagogue doesn't have an altar like that.
No, who didn't?
Synagogue does not have.
Oh, yes, that's what I'm saying. It's Byzantine.
Right.
Yeah, because you do have Byzantine altars like this. So you're right. The synagogue wouldn't have had that. And so it gives an early feature of a synagogue, but it also shows that it was actually eventually taken over. This is what it seems to me. It's been taken over by the church years later. And probably after the time of Constantine, in which he, made Christianity legal. And something I think probably this is something. By the way, if you go to Ephesus, you'll see something not the features like the altar, but you'll see in Ephesus at the church that was a church of the what was it called? It's where they decided that Jesus was two natures and one in one person. Church at Ephesus, and 451 escapes my memory, something like that, where Mary, it was called the question of the Theotokos, Mary and her giving birth to God and man, so to speak. So you'll see the really nice At Ephesus, if you go there, you don't see just the ancient classical period, you see the later Byzantine period. And that's what you see here in the church at Sardis. That it appears to me to have changed from a synagogue structure to Byzantine. But, I'm not an expert in that area. Let's keep moving.
Ooh.
Now, remember that ladder I mentioned to you?
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
And you could go from this and climb over that and be right at the swimming pool.
A little dip.
Now, one thing that Greeks and Romans liked was what?
Water.
Water and pools to get into. Everywhere you go in Asia Minor here, you're going to see in every place, Laodicea, you're going to see also in Corinth, you're going to see all these places. They had places for people to go during the day and to relax in the pools. And that's very, very common. And this is an example, but notice what care it's not just like going to the YMCA and they got a pool out there for you. I mean, this is a very well done building in structure. And it houses largely one thing. So keep moving. Now that's the front. Keep moving inside. You've already climbed the fence. Now you're inside. You're turning around and seeing where you came from. That's on the inside looking out.
Okay.
Well, hold it. I take it back. That's the outside looking in. Now that's the inside looking out. So or maybe it's just the opposite.
Could be.
I know there's two sides to it. I've been there, but that doesn't look right either. There, I know that's the inside. There's the pool, and there's the place the water went. See that?
Yeah, all the way up.
You step down into the pool. They would get in there and relax. Two things you'll always see in Greek and Roman cities: places of entertainment, theaters.
Right.
And by the way, who did the famous movie stars in the days of the Greeks and Romans? What were they?
Gladiators?
No. Movie star is not the right word, but
I was going to say.
I'll put actors, famous actors in the ancient world. They were the slaves.
Oh, I see. I thought you were looking for a name.
Slaves were the basic actors in the theaters.
Okay. They were indispensable.
Yeah. They did what they were told.
Exactly.
They didn't ask for a lot of money.
Cheap labor.
Cheap labor. Exactly. That always go back. That always marveled me. The fact is, we do so much. I mean, for actors, I mean, you may become a millionaire in time, and you're just everybody loves you, and you're wonderful and great. I'm thinking these days they just had people that learned to act, and they were slaves, and they did the work. But this right here again is a pool historically, and you entered in from that other place we were talking about. I was trying to figure out, and these are common along with theaters in every one of the cities. Continue on. Looking for my time. I don't have a clock here anymore. I've got 9 minutes left.
Well, you're 8 minutes over, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll keep moving here a little faster then. I'm sorry. This is a temple of Artemis, who's also Diana. Where also is Diana famous?
And
Diana of the Ephesians.
In Ephesus, yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
All right.
Ephesians. Diana, that's more of a Latin thing. Artemis, Greek, and very popular in the ancient world. This is very fun, by the way. I climbed all the way to the top of that little, not the big tall mountain, but right above it. Up the tall mountain, there's a lot of stuff too, but I'm not going to go into all that. Anyway, this is an area of the. This is a way maybe several blocks down on a road from the thing in Sardis. Keep moving. Yeah, I'm over, so let's move. Okay, just some more ruins. Keep moving.
Church of Sardis.
Okay, keep moving. I want to move out of that. Let's see. It gives you some looks at how everywhere you go, you have ruins like this. Some things preserved. Keep going. I mean, this is a couple thousand years ago.
Sure. Next.
Go on.
Go on. Okay.
These are the same things. I wanted you going. Okay. So when we come back next time, since we're over, we'll start with Philadelphia. Philadelphia is called the
Faithful Church.
Quite different from Thyatira.
Yeah.
Right. And so we'll discuss Philadelphia next time. And then we're going to move over into Laodicea, which is one of the more fascinating areas. And we've got a lot of things to talk about in Laodicea.
Cool.
And then we'll start looking at some of the other churches that are not churches, but places Christian lives. There's a lot of artifacts that I want to introduce to you in the various other places. There's some really cool places, not only Laodicea, but also there's some great artifacts at Aphrodisias, Miletus. These places are really, really good. And so we'll talk about artifacts next time. I hope you had a fun time tonight. I try to humor you a little bit. And we'll have a great time discussing the rest of this. I hope you're enjoying this.
Looks good. Looks good. Yeah.
If you're enjoying it, send me a note.
There you go.
We're going to put A+ on it.
There you go.
Exactly. Well, and we're going to do one other quick thing here. Here we go. Because we want to make sure that people realize that indeed you have a website, which looks like that. And it's at hwhouse.com.
Correct.
Where you can find more stuff, including the tours.
There you go.
And I have even videos, entire courses on theology and New Testament and any number of other topics that you can watch if you
hermeneutics.
Want. Yeah.
Herman who?
Herman who?
That means biblical interpretation. And so, and a lot of archaeology things. Okay.
Oh, nice.
It's good to have you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you all.
All right. Adios. We will
Adios,
be back next
amigos. And sign off.
Bye-bye.